you have undergone a magical transformation, my love. Happy full moon in Cancer. This is a full moon message for you, and it's about your culmination point. You have reached the star's brightest point in the sky. That's what the culmination is, and that usually happens amongst contrast. So I feel like you've moved through a season of contrast. This is the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's very evident in physical ways that you have become enlightened about something when it comes to your life on earth, or something that you wanted to experience. Now, when we backtrack 6 months ago, there was that new moon in Cancer that happened on the 25th of June 2025, and that was at 4 degrees, which is a Cancerian degree. So this is something that you were planting when it comes to your inner world, ways that you can nourish yourself as you move through this existence. Maybe it was a seed in regards to your spiritual life and something that you've been doing to get more in tune with yourself as a soul having a human experience. Maybe this was a new beginning when it comes to your domestic life. And really, it's about your internal safety, knowing that home is truly where the heart is, and safety is something that you can anchor and bring into this physical vessel. You don't need to acquire anything outside of yourself or rely on that to give you a false sense of safety. That's what I'm seeing for you. Anyway, when we talk about this full moon that's happening on the 3rd of January 2026, this is at 13 degrees. So this is an Aries degree. It shows that this new moon is a new beginning for you, and what your life in this existence, within this lifetime, actually looks like within this lifeline. It's a harvestation point. It's a culmination that you're reaching. So this is an emotional truth that's coming to light for a lot of you, especially in regards to what has worked, what hasn't. I'm seeing you have been experimenting over these last 6 months, and you're ready to choose now. This full moon is very symbolic of the hands. Now, when we talk about the hands, this is about your power as a creator in this realm, and what it is that you choose to grab onto, and also what it is that you're choosing to let go of and release. So when you look at your hand, you'll see that you are able to shape things, right? Maybe this is about the small choices, reflexes, or even attachments that you've had as, self-protection patterns in some way. And you're no longer anchoring to what used to be your comfort zone, because you're outgrowing that in some way. I'm hearing you're outgrowing an outdated model, outdated belief, and as you shed those beliefs, you're also being reborn into this new version of self. I'm seeing almost like a new identity that your soul gets to take on and explore, and your life on earth is going to also translate that embodiment. So the full moon is very much a new timeline that you're stepping into. When we talk about the hands, one vital let's say element on the hands is the thumb, and it's because you have a green thumb, and that's showing during this time. This is definitely something coming to light. It's something that is becoming tangible for you. It's something that is actually becoming very, very physical and visible for you, and also those around you. It symbolizes our will, our agency as sovereign creators in this existence, and also your choice, right? What it is that you want to grip onto, and also your ability to let go and actively choose a different way to align yourself as you move through this construct. And I'm just seeing you've come into this new profound alignment with yourself, or at least you have been for a while, and this is where you're really basking in, I'm hearing, newfound success. Okay, I'm hearing that's coming your way. So this could be opportunities that you've been able to pull into your orbit as well, but you're able to see this new full moon as a checkpoint, essentially. This is where you check in with yourself and see, where have you been holding yourself back? What have you been holding onto out of fear, right? Where have you been clinging onto your comfort zone? And can you allow yourself to stretch beyond what is familiar before you retract back into your old ways of being? And are you also ready to kind of change your grip? Maybe there's new things that you want to be able to shift in your reality, and you're seeing the potential that you have during this full moon to be able to do so, and you're honoring that. In June 2025, this is very much, what did you need in order to feel safe and grow? What did you need to be able to supply yourself way back then? Because this is going to be the storyline that's unfolding in January 2026, it's very much okay, what am I now doing with this power that I've rediscovered within myself, the powerful being that I remember myself to be, the highly abundant being that I know myself to be? Because it's not just feelings that are rising to the surface, it's very much a choice that is becoming visible during this time. I feel like this is you doubling down on a very specific timeline that you want to experience, and the Sabian symbol for this Cancer full moon is 13 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and read the 13 degree Sabian symbol of Cancer, just to give you a visual. So a hand with a prominent thumb is held out for study. This is a very rich symbol, especially for themes of agency, choice, and self-direction. The core meaning is this degree is about examining one's capacity to act. The hand represents your ability to shape your reality, how you grasp, hold, and release or offer your interface with the world. The thumb is crucial. It is what distinguishes the human hand. It allows opposition, grip, as well as precision. Symbolically, it represents will, autonomy, and conscious choice. This is a symbol that doesn't depict action itself. It's about becoming aware of how you act, how you move towards that thing, and what your dominant vibrational frequency is as you do that. The deeper symbolism is a hand that's held out for study. This implies self-observation rather than impulsivity, pausing to understand your instincts, examining habits, reactions, as well as coping mechanisms, and it's a moment of self-assessment. How do I use my power? Do my actions come from fear, habit, or conscious intent? The Cancerian tone is very important because this is Cancer. The hand is not just practical, it's also emotional and protective. This degree asks, how do you reach for others? How do you protect yourself? And when do you cling? And when do you choose to let go? It's all about emotional agency, not dominance. The shadow and the gift aspect of this, when it comes to the shadow expression, it's about acting from a place of autopilot where your fears are leading and governing the decisions that you make, right? Fear of losing an opportunity, of not, being able to achieve that thing, fear of maybe acting towards that thing in case you fail, right? And also emotional reactivity, using control or withdrawal instead of awareness. And the higher expression of this full moon is going to be conscious emotional responses, choosing nurturing over defensiveness, using sensitivity as discernment and not a weakness. And the difference between this is one is being ruled by feelings, whereas the other is able to use feelings as a form of information. They're able to understand, okay, what is the information behind this sensation that I feel arising within my body? This is going to require a different level of self-awareness that you're going to have to cultivate, understand what it is that your body is telling you, because it's a very intelligent tool and vessel of possibility that actually speaks to us constantly. It's whether we are present enough with ourselves to be aware of what our body is telling us. So the evolutionary message of 13 degrees of Cancer is this degree marks a shift from instinctual reaction to conscious participation. It says that you are not at the mercy of your emotions. You can indeed study them, you can guide them, and you can choose. It's very aligned with shadow integration during this time, nervous system awareness, emotional maturity, and reclaiming authorship over your life. 13 degrees of Cancer is the moment that you remember that you have choice, not over what you feel, but choosing how you want to respond despite those feelings. Okay, so, and again, what it is that you want to create with it. So the message that we have with this is a few. The first one is synchronous rotation. Synchronous rotation is actually the dark side of the moon. It's about those who don't want to be seen or those who choose not to see. And it usually is about being aware of any shadow tendencies, right? So where it is that we may cling on to certain things, where our fears may be present. And usually, where we actually withhold that love or acceptance, right? Unconditional love is just unconditional acceptance for certain aspects of ourselves, for certain dimensions or octaves, actually shows lifetime from lifetime of those lower expressions that are continuously coming to the surface in order for them to be integrated, right? It actually shows the pain in which we carried from lifetime to lifetime. And pain, when not integrated or accepted or understood or even embraced, begins to grow. And when embraced, it turns into one of our greatest superpowers. And I'm hearing actually allies, because on the other side of our pain or our fear lies our freedom. So your triggers during this time are actually going to reveal what it is that you need to lean into. That's what I'm seeing, especially with synchronous rotation. I would say the biggest message or takeaway for this is what others do is a reflection of them and the relationship that they have with themselves. And your response to that is also a reflection of your own awareness. Whatever this is, it was designed to kind of shake your world, because we have come to the edge. Now, come to the edge is stepping beyond your comfort zone. And as you do that, what begins to happen is you grow. Now, it also talks about discovering a treasure beyond your wildest dreams. And at the base of when we come to the edge was Treasure Island, which talks about where your intuition has been guiding you. And I'm hearing this is about being guided back home to your true self, which is the neutral, still observer. And you observing your human experience and also the relationship that you have with, I don't want to say you're human, but it feels like the relationship that you have with this realm, if that makes sense. You could be seeing your existence a little bit differently during this full moon. That's also something I'm seeing. Almost a deeper level of appreciation for the soul that's able to grow in this terrestrial plane. Even amongst the contrast, I do feel a deep sense of gratitude, maybe of fear that you felt, just so that you could experience that love. Maybe aspects of yourself that have been hard to accept, to a deep, profound acceptance that has been cultivated within yourself, where you've been able to love yourself at every stage of your evolution journey. That's what I'm seeing for you. It's like you've learned how to fully accept certain aspects of yourself and all of yourself, and not just compartmentalize that. And you've stepped into that wholeness despite your circumstances. Peace can be found in the present moment, no matter what your current conditions may look like, or whatever it is that you're moving through. Acceptance instantaneously neutralizes that energy. And I'm seeing this neutral point of view that you've been able to return to. Almost this spiritual agility, again, because it's not about dominance, it's about almost emotional regulation. So I'm just seeing you've been able to come back to that harmonic resonance within yourself, where your internal state of being and that 0 point has governed the way that you choose to move through this existence and maybe interact with also those around you. Now, you also have storm warning. And also there's another thing around that emotional regulation has allowed you to even listen to your intuition and honor that heightened sensitivity, where it feels like it's kind of not being drowning that inner voice, because heightened emotions can often drown that internal voice. And I'm just seeing that internal voice has gotten louder as you've learned how to not suppress your emotions, but honor and fully accept them. And in that alchemization, you've cleared up this dense debris, where there's this level of fluidity where you can allow them to pass through you freely like the weather, and you're not holding on to them, because emotions are just energy in motion. And I'm just seeing you've been able to master that elemental flow of the water itself. It's like you're still like water, right? Anyway, your next message are the Shaman Dream Oracle messages, and I love what's come out, because the first one is Heart, Home, Compassion. And the last reading I did with this card specifically, we were talking about Vesta, which is our sacred spiritual center. And Vesta's story is that she was one of the goddesses who, and an asteroid basically, that had moved through, like the cities and the towns and the villages. And she had essentially kept all the temples and the sacred spaces lit and warm through the night. And a lot of her work went unseen, but it was deeply appreciated, so she didn't really do something for any kind of recognition. So I'm seeing something that has gone unseen. Maybe it's the work that you've been doing within your inner world or behind the scenes is now becoming evident to those around you. Again, I'm just seeing like an accumulation moment where there's been a certain level of momentum that you've been putting towards something, and that's now collapsed into very tangible results in your experience. Because in that reading, I was talking about her kids had found her one night in the forest, and they followed her into the temple, and they saw that it was her that's been doing all this work, yet she was seeking no recognition at all. So the success is in who it is that you've become, right? We have like pigeons swimming in the pool right now. Okay, and then you have will-o'-the-wisp. So some of you, it's about following your heart, right? To do something that maybe you had neglected before. And I don't want to just say neglected, but it's the truest form of compassion, and not just for those around you, but also for yourself, because that's what 𝓤𝓪 talks about. Empty yourself of all judgments and preconceptions. Allow spirit to fill you with a new sweet nectar of peace. That's what I mean. It's like you found some kind of level of peace or harmony despite your circumstances over these last 6 months, and that's also something that's going to carry you forward, right? This gift that you've been able to cultivate and also sustain and amplify within yourself. It's that inner still sanctuary that you can retreat to within any given moment in time, no matter what is going on around you as far as change goes or your environment changing. And I'm also seeing that chaos, right? Things that you can't control outside of yourself. You can retreat back to that inner still sanctuary and see the cosmos within it. Just things that could be something that appears disorderly to the shadow side of ourselves, that fears and loves that control, right? That love of power is something that you've had to surrender and choose to see a secret ordering within. Okay, so I'm seeing putting your trust in a higher power and a higher force within you that's been guiding you, right? Your eternal light. Now, treasures hidden in the shadows, and that's exactly what you've been called to step into, especially with the energy that we had around the treasure island, and also the leaping into the unknown is the only choice that you have right now if you want to be able to progress. I'm just seeing something waiting for you in this next leap that you're going to be taking, in this next leap that you may be making a decision around taking during this time or making. So treasures hidden in the shadow, the great mystery, or an epiphany. Will-o'-the-wisp hovers in her luminescent glory above the twilight moors of your life, whispering for you to step into the fog, into the mystery, the unknown. You may have been visited by her before, but though intrigued, you refused her invitation. You thought that it may be safer and decided to remain on the journey that you know. While you always have a choice as to whether to follow her or not, you never know when you might encounter her again. In this sense, turning away may have its own consequences. Why is the known so appealing? It's only when you wake up to its restrictions, its soft prison or golden cage, that you realize there must be more. So this is you actually cultivating a profound sense of self-trust to begin to navigate yourself into some kind of new unknown terrain. And if you become more curious and see the unknown as actually a friend that has within it everything that you desire for your highest possible expansion, right? For the soul to fully be able to express itself through form without any restrictions or limitations, or where your comfort zone can become a prison, essentially. So will-o'-the-wisp has come to you again to offer you magic, but you will have to sacrifice certainty in the pursuit of adventure. It's answering the soul's call for exploration. That's exactly what's happening. It feels like everything's been a training ground for this moment for you, to be honest. So your comfort zone for the dangers of discovery, your well-trodden path for the detours that very well may lead you astray. Or will they? Can you accept that losing yourself will bring you closer to your true self? Yeah. The profound shift of an epiphany can occur when you risk the detour and enter the unknown. Now's the time to trust in higher forces to lead you to this place. That's literally what we said, right? Putting your how in a higher power, putting your trust in a higher power. What was and what can be. This is the threshold between worlds. Forces are leading you into this place. Here is where you will learn about your own unmaking and unmask yourself. Love what you discover, dark or light. It's all beneficial for the soul's highest expression, right? For the soul's evolution. You can see things as divine, and a quiet, thrumming power waiting for you to channel it into the world for good. The treasure you find, filled with wealth, love, and kindness, true prosperity, is ripe to share with others. She is here for you now. Will you accept her invitation? A great bounty of goodness awaits you. Wow. Yeah, I had a few messages when I was reading that, actually. And one of them was about the exoskeleton of a Cancer archetype and the crab. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find the downloads from that. It might even be from the new moon in Cancer. If I did a video on that, let me see. This is exactly the energy that's being reactivated in your field. In the exoskeleton of a Cancerian crab, I did this reading last year, and it was all about the hermit's journey. So that's where I see you being right now, especially because we have the moon that's come out. And the hermit travels through the realms of the night. The hermit outgrows his shell, lacking a protective exoskeleton. A hermit crab uses the vacated shell of a mollusk as a temporary safe house, but must find a series of bigger homes as it grows. Finding a shell exactly the right size can prove difficult and can result in bizarre house swap changes. So it feels like it's almost like you're getting used to some type of new reality, but then you're never really fully settling in, because there's another shift that's about to occur in your field. That's what it feels like. And you know, when you're house hunting, that's what it feels like is happening for you right now. So when a hermit crab outgrows its shell, it will search for a larger one and move into it. You know what it is? You've been in this in-between realms phase, and it feels like you're about to find a new shell for yourself, you know, and that shell is almost presented to the outside world, and you have a completely different experience being inside of it. And it feels like the relationship that you cultivated within yourself has now led to those around you seeing you very, very differently. So, and again, you can always bring that with you. That inside of the shell is something that you'll carry on your back, right? So yeah, anyway, this process is called molting and is similar to how reptiles shed their skin. Just as a reptile periodically sheds its skin, a hermit crab outgrows its exoskeleton and needs to shed it. So when we talk about this in the metaphysical standpoint, this is about change and adaptation being a theme around this full moon for you, where you've been able to frequently change shells in order to be able to accommodate some type of new growth that's been happening in your life, where it's maybe a certain dream, right? That could signify a period of transition, and it's a need to adapt to your circumstances when it comes to your waking life as well. Vulnerability is going to be your only bridge to connection during this full moon, right? During this next phase of your life, because who it is that you've had to be in order to get here is no longer the version of self that you have to be moving forward. So that's what I'm seeing. You have to kind of expose yourself to a certain degree so that you can settle into some kind of new skin or new life or new reality, right? You cannot have the new shell without molting the old one. So it almost feels like a trade-off is happening for you, but there's an upgrade in that because it's a bigger shell. There's more room, there's more comfort. And staying with the old shell will have its own set of complications, because again, change is not what's going to hurt for you, my love. It's going to be that resistance to change, right? This is like a natural secret ordering that's happening at this stage of your evolution. We just had 444 in the clock. So that molting could mean that maybe you've been growing, you've been changing, and you're ready to move into some kind of new phase of your life finally. And it's the forward-looking energy, right? As we head into Aquarius season soon, and we're in Capricorn season, you're ready to move on finally with plans that had been previously withheld. So I definitely feel like that's the energy, especially with, again, the heart home and the will-o'-the-wisp. It's like you're being called forth. Again, it's like this safe passage where you're being called forth to, you know, come and see what your life on earth could be, how much more comfortable things would be navigating this contract this way. So yeah, it's super, super interesting with the hermit. We might go ahead and read that energy. But yeah, it's time to kind of come out of your shell and begin to embrace a new one with this new archetype. Now, this is you actually becoming the physical embodiment of your higher self in physical form, because when we talk about the moon with this card, it talks about a bridge. Okay, and again, that bridge of vulnerability is going to be your only connecting bridge to connect you with this new version of yourself. That's then going to be a resonant match with certain timeline of experiences. So the bridge talks about illusions and also intuition. You come across a bridge. A strange breeze tosses specks of light around in the thick air. You notice a figure standing on the other side of the bridge. It looks like you, or what you imagine yourself looking like. So again, this is the version of yourself that is wearing that new bridge, right? Again, I feel like this is an identity rebirth of some kind. But as you step forward, the space around you ripples like a mirage that distorts your vision. Is this an illusion? Fragments of your past and future memories reflect onto the bridge and then vanish. The figure that was once at the other end of the bridge is now no longer there, and you find yourself in their place. The bridge card is about illusions. If you pull it in a reading, it can either be a warning of something around you is not what it seems, and it calls for you to pay attention to your unconscious self. So again, that could be the voice. You don't have to believe everything that lower octave or expression of yourself says around it not being safe to make that move. We all have desires that are not necessarily resting on the surface. Sometimes we are unaware of what we want most in life. The bridge is the only metaphor for this. In time, you will see that this construct is made from your own illusions. So something that is an illusion is perception, because that can change. Again, with mirage, the way that you perceive this shift will completely change the way that you experience it, right? Your emotions and also the thoughts behind those emotions too will completely change the way that you experience it. It can either be something that you're bracing for or something that you're ready to embrace. It can be something that you feel overpowered by or something that you feel empowered by. So that's going to be your biggest message for today. And again, when we talk about the hermit's journey, we'll go ahead and read the hermit maybe. So when we talk about the hermit's journey, this is about reaffirming inner truth for you. And the hermit has this 8-pointed starseed. It's this blue lantern that assists him in life transitions because he's embarking on this pilgrimage through the night, and he can only see the first few steps of his journey. He may not even know exactly what that shell is or what it looks like or how to get there, but he knows in order to be able to progress, he has to step away from something that he's outgrowing and focus on what's calling him. So instead of focusing on what it is that you're releasing, if you can lean into what it is that you're ready to receive, and you can step out with that knowing that it has already happened and it has already came to be, that shell is already existing for you, and you're witnessing the journey of that new home, that new reality as this new version of self. It's like you're calling that shell in, and as you walk that path, the path will continue to unfold in front of you. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. He can see the first few steps of his journey. He can also see the outcome of that, but the actual linear unfoldment of that is unknown, and it's for a reason, and it's because he can find happiness in the journey itself. You know, he can find happiness in the journey itself. It reminds me of the Dorothy movie, The Wizards of Oz, and how the lion discovers that it wasn't reaching Kansas that gave him this heart full of courage. It was him stretching beyond his comfort zone, because your life shrinks or expands according to how courageous you allow yourself to be. So the journey itself is going to be something that's healing for you. It's to love yourself with the shell, without the shell, the old one or the new one. Your state of being should not be dependent upon these external factors. It's an experience, and allow yourself to enjoy every step of the way. Yeah, that is what the cosmic tree is all about. It's an unconscious unfoldment of eternity. It basically talks about it's offering guidance from the collective unconscious during this time and understanding your inner truth. There's a quiet seed that needs nurturing. And what it feels like is the tree that's grown from this seed, and there's a harvestation, but there's now a new, what's the word? Something is cross-pollinating in your field. Something is stretching beyond what it is that you've currently experienced. And this new level that you've reached within yourself leads to a new version of reality that you're yet to experience. with that being said, I'm gonna love and leave you guys right there. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing because we'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. I hope you have a wonderful full moon in Cancer, and also check out Auto Spirit if you're looking for some high quality AAA grade jewelry. This is from a small family owned business that handcraft these beautiful gemstones. Today we have Rainbow Moonstone on, also Yellow Emperor, and then also what's the red one called? I'm trying to remember. I don't know why, I just had like a mind blank. You guys let me know in the comment section down below. I can't remember right now. It's a confidence stone. It's also a fire element too. It working with the fire elements. I don't know why I can't remember, but it's a confidence stone. So yeah, you have 2 discount codes in the description box down below. Watch me wake up at like 3 AM and I'm gonna be like, oh, that's what it is. But yeah, until next time, bye.